Hey folks, Jonathan here. Alright, figured I'd do an update. A lot of stuff going on. Picked this Shingle Mill up. Another one of them almost unobtainium pieces. Around here anyway. Hard to find. And this particular one here is in about as rough shape as any of them I've ever seen. But we're going to fix it. And it is missing, let me see, it's missing a box that went down here that caught the shingles as they sliced them. It's missing there would have been another piece here with cast iron cover that would have had a cutter on it so you could shave the side of your shingles to straighten them out. So it's missing some stuff, but that's okay. But it's the broken stuff's what's the bad part. So we got broken casting here, broken casting here. This one's broke. Should look just like this one. We'll have to make another one. This is bent. You know, a lot of these castings you can drill them and pin them with bolts or something like that. This here, as you can see, it's broke. So we'll make a plate that bolts on here that comes up each side and bolt it in. Or I'd like to hot rivet it. Maybe we'll hot rivet it just to make it look like an old repair. This is actually made by Chase, and I think it's 1281 is the serial number on it. We can probably figure out about what year it was made. It was they started in like 1880 something and went all the way up to 1920 with these things. But they're really neat. And so what you do is you take a block of usually cedar and set it in here. You got to get it the right measurement, the right length. There's springs underneath that this leg operates this lower jaw, and when you push it, it comes down. You put your block in and it comes back up and catches it between these teeth and the teeth on the top one. And then as this thing saws and cuts, it actually, the board will fall off and then it comes back and then it tilts the opposite way. So this actually ratchets out opposite, and that way you actually get a tapered cut this way, and then you get a tapered cut this way, tapered cut this way, and that way when you're done with your block it has cut it straight if you do it right. And then of course, cedar shake shingles is what it's called. You can use them, and they actually will last 40 or 50 years if you put them upright. And anyway, so this is an upcoming project, and I did get the tobacco stick cutter finished up. We've actually cut a whole lot of tobacco sticks with it, and I think I've got a pile of them around here. I just picked this up today. Well, I didn't pick it up. A friend of mine picked it up for me, Danny, in Darlington, South Carolina, and brought it up to me. Something I did notice on this thing is kind of weird. I don't know why they done this, and we're probably going to do away with it unless there's some gears that are bad. But so this lower jack shaft down here actually drives from up here with a flat belt, and I think you can use the same size flat belt and go from one to the other to change the speed between the blade and your carriage that's moving, and this is what moves the carriage. The crazy thing is these are gear driven, and this had to be done a long time ago because I noticed that this is forge welded. Somebody made this ring to go over top of the gear, and they must have had a belt maybe running on it, and maybe ran it to get the right direction. They would have had to run this belt twisted to reverse it. So that's the only thing I can figure, because there's no gear there and the gear's covered here. Now I would want to go back with the gear, and they probably busted the lower gear and lost it. Something happened and they done away with it, because I didn't see any bad teeth. I looked around it pretty good. So we may take that ring off and go back with the gear down here. Everything, the bearings, everything's going to have to be babbited and redone. I think some of the arms are bent, and the springs, I'm sure, it's going to need some work up underneath. Blade, we'll have to try to sharpen it and set the teeth on it. Try it out, because finding a blade like that, it's got a weird hub on it. It's got screws in it, and it's just made a little different. But like I said, hard to find, and I kind of like it. So another one of the things that was on my sort of bucket list to get. I've been watching for a lot of years, just like the tobacco stick cutter and the log splitter. So let me show you the tobacco stick cutter. There's some tobacco sticks. Now these are 1x1 sticks, and just so people know, what they've done with these is they actually cut them about 4 foot length, and then they tied the leaves on them and then used them to hang the tobacco up in the tobacco barns. Now they use them for stickers between wood when you're trying to dry your wood after you've sawn it. A lot of sawmills like them. Okay, tobacco stick cutter. As you can see, cleaned up, painted, everything fixed except for I did not fix this yet. And I wanted to, I just hadn't had time. We'll weld a piece back in and grind it out, and then I'll put some black paint or something on that fully. But everything else is done. Seemed to work really well, no issues. I didn't, didn't do a lot of fixing of anything on this, just mostly cleaned it up and got everything freed up and painted. And another, like I said, item is hard to find. I did upgrade to some carbide tooth blades. Now I've got the old blades that can be put right back on, no problem. But these cut a whole lot better, of course. Them blades there, I think Harbor Freight, got a 3-pack, and then I had to bore them out to 1 3/8 is what the hub hole is on them, so that wasn't too bad to do. And works good, really like it. I had to put a belt on it, the drive belt from bottom to top, and that's the old original, actually leather belt. And anyway, so we ran this off of the big Schofield engine my wife had bought me for my anniversary. All right, picked up an old John Deere tractor too that I rebuilt the engine, or I put rings and stuff in the engine. The engine that was on it was been reined in. The head was missing, oil pan was missing, the filter screen for the pickup, oil pickup, a lot of the other parts. But so it came with a parts tractor when I bought it. So I took the engine out of the parts tractor, froze up, knocked the pistons out of it, honed it, put rings on it. It had the 20 thousandths over, had aluminum pistons, so it's been updated, and a few other things to this thing. And a friend of mine, Wayne, and subscriber from Florida, come up and spent a day with me messing with this thing, and or a couple days actually, and we got it together and I've got it running. And the only bad part is I cleaned that oil pan and I drained the oil out of it. It had good, it had oil in it when I got it out of the parts tractor. Drained the oil out, and then when I cleaned the pan and put this thing all back together, cleaned the inside of the pan out, evidently there was a thin spot and it rusted out on me. So I didn't even notice that I left that water neck bolt loose. Did not even tighten it. And it actually is, well, almost full of antifreeze. That wasn't smart, was it? Don't know why I done that. But anyway, it runs good. Not much into these tractors really, but the price was right. And the sheet metal is perfect on it. So we're going to get this back together. And I figured I'd teach my grandson how to drive it. And then we'll go from there. Is what I'm going to do with it. Okay, might have a little bit of trouble seeing this. I got it in the building here. Car engine. This is actually for a early steam car. And this is a Mason engine. And this engine was built by a man by the name of George Eli Whitney, which I believe is like maybe the great-grandson of the Eli Whitney that invented the cotton gin. But this engine here was built for Mason, and he paid him $200, not this particular engine, but this designed engine. But he paid him $200 to design and build this. And Mason started building a lot of them. So for the first 2 years of a locomobile, that's what they had. And then of course they sold them to other companies too. Some of them put their name on the valve cover and some of them didn't. This one don't have it. It's pretty early serial number, so this one's probably for a Mason car. This is the first design, so everybody that designed their car engines, Stanley Steamer, off the later locomobile, all the other ones, basically designed them after this. And I don't think Mason ever put a patent on it, and I know that George Eli Whitney didn't put a patent on it. But a pretty interesting story, but it's basically the first engine for a car that was built this exact style. And if you look, there's a lot of brass on it. Just about the entire casting is brass. So this thing runs good. I got that part together. This thing would have mounted vertical. And so we're going to do some more cleaning on it, try to get some paint on the cast iron parts and polish it up a little bit, and then we'll pipe this in and set it up somewhere to run. And Wouldn't mind building a car from it one day, maybe a little horseless carriage, because that's what it was. It was a, you know, we're only talking 4 or 5 horsepower at the most, and it would have been a small, you know, horseless carriage with a tiller steer. Wouldn't even have a steering wheel. So, neat engine. Probably somewhere around late 1800s, really early 1900s. So, and like I said, this one does run really well, and we'll do some video on that later on. All right, folks. The next big thing. You can see my crane sitting behind it, and yes, I did use the crane to set this thing. I had a lot of people ask about whether I still use it or not, and I absolutely do. And I was actually going to leave the roof off of this and use the crane to set the engine, but after seeing how high I built it, you know, I didn't really realize it was going to be so high. So I can set it with the forklift with no problem. So we'll just do it like that. And let me see, I've got a little bit more roof to do on this. On the back side there, I got one full piece missing, and then I got 2 small pieces missing, and I cannot find any of this roof. It's 4 inches deep. It's got 2 grooves per piece, and it's 2 foot wide. So it's some really heavy, and it may have been material to put on a bridge to pour concrete, or, you know, just to use for concrete, but you can walk all over the place up there with no problem, even though it's not, it looks flat, I know, but I am angled down at the left side, so I built this thing to be able to lose water off that end, and I'll still have to get up there and clean the pine straw off. So I've got the original ladder that was for the water tower, and I'm going to attach it to one of these arms here. I've actually got 2 pieces of that ladder. Now this is basically all I ended up with. Now I did have to cut, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but somewhere right in here I cut it and put it back together, and done the same thing on the other side, because then we're 19 foot, now they're 26 feet. And so it's 28 total with at the ends, and then 12'6" tall, and all of these beams had to be well, they're 2 long beams running this way. They're 17 foot long, and I had to extend them. As you can see, they're welded together up here. So let me see. Yeah, I had to extend this one too, and it's kind of funny because this was basically the end of the pieces that I had, and you can see they must have went to a bigger angle iron for that, and the angle iron was the same in the center, but it was a little bit wider, so that's okay. Anyway, it's up, it's not going anywhere. Like I said, this was the Carthage, North Carolina water tower, and this a lot of controversy over this thing coming down. Built in 1913, and was taken down in 2018, and it was going to be $350,000 to restore the water tower, or they was going to pay $25,000 to have it taken down. So they paid the $25,000 to have it taken down. My understanding is everything went to the scrap yard except this load right here, and the only reason it didn't go is because there was a problem with the trailer and the axle or bearing or something, and they brought it to the yard and unloaded it, and then I bought it as scrap later on, and I didn't want it to go to the scrap yard anyway. But strap riveted beam is hard to find. This is Lackawanna steel, so this was built and, well, of course it was pre-13, but they went out of business in 22, or they got bought from Bethlehem Steel in 22. So anyway, nice steel, nice building. And of course I'm working on just getting some measurements for the foundation for the Weatherill engine, the big 14-foot flywheel steam engine. So I'm figuring on putting the flywheel 4 foot in the ground, so that's going to leave 10 foot out, and this is going to be, you know, 12'6" high, so that should work out just fine. But anyway, that's what I've been doing, and I want to work on the coupe, the 5-window coupe. I'm going to do some changing and stuff on it. I was going to do videos on it, but it's just been so cold that I've sort of been hanging out doing other things. But anyway, so just wanted to update everyone, and I'll have some more videos out soon. Hopefully I'm thinking about doing a series of videos on this shingle mill as I do it, because it's going to take a lot of work, a lot of fabrication, a lot of brazing and penning and drilling and you know, put some bolts in and then cut the heads off so you can't see them, and just anything I got to do to support that cast iron that's broke to try to get this thing back to operating condition. If you fire up a bunch of steam engines, the biggest question you get is, what did they use them for? And if it's hooked to a machine that's doing something, you don't really get that question, and that way it's easier for them to understand. All right, so anyway, appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye.